Okay, this week's lesson is about the creation of SEA, how to create sustainable competitive advantage. We're still here. Yeah, we've done external internal analysis, and so we're now here. And then we look at what the creation of SEA is formed of, and then we look at how to make a strategy. So we first analyze, so what makes up sustainable competitive advantage? What does it comprise of? And then we look at the basic strategy that there is. So we learned this before, but SEA Sustainable Competitive Advantage is a combination of elements of the business strategy that provides meaningful advantage, right? It provides advantage over the existing, or future competitors. SEA needs to be both meaningful and sustainable. Some business managers name their SCA as reputation for quality or customer service support, name recognition, low cost production, continuing product innovation, knowledge of the business, early entrant into this industry, efficient overall marketing skills, and things like that. So average number of SCA per company is 4.58. So having just one SCA is not sufficient. Okay, so it's a combination of mix. So for the creation of SCA, assets and competencies is the basis of the competition. Assets and competency of an organization represents the most sustainable elements of a business strategy to become the competitive basis of its business. For the creation of SCA, assets and competencies are important, but also the product and the service market that's served, like where you compete, is also important. It's an important determinant of SCA, the choice of the target market. A well-defined strategy supported by assets and competencies might fail because it doesn't work for a certain target market. So not only do you have to have assets and competencies, but you also have to look into where you're going to serve this product or service, who your target market is. That's very important. Okay, looking at the creation of SEA, the role of synergy is also important. Synergy between business units provides sustainable competitive advantage. Synergy is caused by exploiting commonality in customer, channel of distribution, brand name, R&D and marketing, and facilities. I've said this before several times, but the reason why companies try to buy another company in the same industry is to create the synergy, right? Basically, to gain more customer, right? And to increase their brand name, or for R&D or marketing reasons and things like that. I couldn't have told you that SBC, probably Baskin Robbins, Barry Baguette, Barry Croissant, all these companies, they create synergy through sharing marketing or R&D or channel of distribution. Also, more Pacific, all those different brands, they have that synergy that's created. As a result of synergy, the combined business will have increased customer value, lower operating costs, obviously, if you share R&D or marketing and things like that, new product design, new product development, and reduce investments. Like we know that Asian Airlines is a part of Star Alliance, so there's that instant synergy that's created through that. Creation of SEA, D is value proposition, what you offer. We looked at for the creation of SEA, we need asset and competencies. You need to look at where your product or your service is being served, and the role of synergy. Is there any avenue that you could create synergy? And then this is very, very important. It's a very common business terminology we use is, what's the value proposition of your product or of your company? So value proposition is simply listing all the positive features, right? It's just listing. Simply, it's just, the vocabulary word is very fancy, but it's just listing all the positive features and the outcomes of buying or using the product or service. So the value proposition should represent a complete customer experience. Yeah. So what's the value proposition of using Apple? Design, I don't know, hip, or the fact that you could use it with Apple computer. Yeah. So it shows, and the computer is very light. It shows a complete customer experience. Whereas unique selling point is must must be in its value proposition in order to differentiate itself from its competition. So this is just a list of all the things, right? That the value that you experience through using that product or service is just list of all the positive features. Whereas unique selling point is something that's different from your competitors, right? However, something that's very important is value must be driven from customers' perspective, yeah, and it must be relevant, worthwhile, and recognized by customers. Value proposition should lead to a positioning statement. So let's look more into value proposition. For creation of SEA, value proposition are very, very important. These are the sort of values which the author of this book feels that is needed to create a sustainable competitive advantage. Appealing design, system solution, corporate social program, customer relationship, niche specialist, some sort of value, quality, brand, obviously, attributes and benefits. But I think these days that's very, very important with SNS and Facebook. Everything is being global. Yeah. If a brand is global, it has a huge advantage, I feel, and that's the reason why it's very difficult to break the records of global, franchises like Starbucks, right? Starbucks is doing very well overall around the world because of the global presence, and it's very hard for local business to compete with these businesses that are global. So these days, especially with SNS and everything, Facebook and internet, being global is a huge value that is delivered to the customers. And then I, one by one, I explained what it is: attribute or benefit that's sustainable, that is owns an important product or service attribute benefit that is central to the purchase with strong brand differentiator. Example is, British Airways offers a business class passenger more comfortable sleeping space, which is relevant to the customer, and the brands are positioned clearly on that attribute, right? Cathay Pacific was the first to have the shower booth in their sort of in their lobby, yeah, the waiting area, yeah. So that's they own it, right? Some hotels, Hilton, I think it's Hilton, right? That they used to own the bed, the soft, sort of comfortable bed that they used to advertise a lot, and they own it. Owning some sort of aspect, attribute is very, very important. So we know that, Apple has that design factor that they own, right? It's an attribute that's superior and that is owned by the company. British Airways, I just mentioned, has that business class passenger seat. They're known for that, having that comfortable sleeping space. Okay, and it must be viable over time, and it must be protected against competitor. Again, I think first mover advantage in this sense is very important, and advertising in that manner is also important, so that you could own that sort of attribute. Appealing design, self-expressive benefit that appeals to a person's aesthetic. W hotels have a very unique and feel that appeals to fashion forward, right, travelers. I think these days design is also a very, very important attribute for the creation of SEA. System solution, instead of just selling one product or service, you sell the whole system, right? In terms of tourism, W Hotel provides not only hotel rooms, right, but also a tour guide with a helicopter program. So that's like a whole system that they sell, and that's very, very important these days. Corporate social programs, CSR is a very big thing that reflects firms' values, right? That's strong, visible, and relevant. Ronald McDonald House, they have a very family, McDonald's have very family-oriented organization values. Superior customer relationship, personalized service, delivery experience that's satisfying beyond the functional benefits. That's something that you give that's emotional, sociable, and self-expressive benefits. And that's the reason why companies are emphasizing a lot on customer relationships, right? Active programs to nurture and support that intimacy strategy. You know that Starbucks, they try to provide a personalized service by, calling by their name, right? And the apps, right? To be that third place, yeah. Starbucks is known to be that third place where you feel secure and comfortable. Yeah, not your house, not your workplace, not your house, not your workplace, but what? Third place, right? That you could sort of relax and you feel secure and comfortable. Niche specialist. Firm concentrates on one part of the market or product line, not the whole service. You focus firm, right? Have more credibility. So Portman Hotel, for example, they've only focused on upscale segment. You know that it's not a large volume users. There's not that many users. They provide Rolls-Royce to transport their guests, so they're only specifying on a specific smaller number of users. Quality means that brand is perceived as superior to other brands. It must determine what attribute drives the perceived quality in a given segment. It signals the high quality, right? And must be actively managed. If your company is known for the quality, then managing that expectation is very, very important. If the expectation is too high, service can be perceived as unsatisfactory even if it is high level. Perceived quality drives stock return, reflects long-term performance according to Aker and Jacobson. Higher perceived quality have higher stock return. So through many years of study, they found out that according to Aker and Jacobson, they found out that if your product is perceived to have a higher quality, in the long term, it will affect what? Stock price, stock return. Okay, so having that quality, delivery, signaling your product or service as having a high quality is very, very important. Yeah, so these are sort of the dimensions of the quality, yeah, that there can be product or service when you're looking at the dimensions of quality. These are things that you could check. Performance, how well is the main task performed? Features, does the product or service offer the latest feature? Are there any wow attributes? Customer support, does the organization support the customer with caring and competent people that's efficient? Process quality, is the process of buying and using the product pleasant rather than frustrating or disappointing? Aesthetic design, does it design and pleasure to the experience of buying and using the product or service? These days this is very important too, right? Aesthetic design. The total quality management system is required when you're focusing on quality. If your company is known for its quality, you need that total quality management. This is also a business terminology that's very often used, TQM. Yeah. Does management system support throughout the organization? So the whole organization is focused on quality. Yeah. Only quality they focus on. Yeah. Commitment of senior management to what? Quality. Cross-functional teams to implement quality improvement. So there are a lot of teams that is overseeing each other to see if the quality is increasing. Process orientation leads to quality improvement on an ongoing basis. There's a system-based measurement, some sort of measurement that's implemented to recognize that the quality is high enough. Yeah? And recognition system where you give incentives and things like that when the quality is high. Underlying the cause of customer complaints and areas of dissatisfaction, yeah, and involvement of customers, suppliers, and other stakeholders to audit and to rate and to recognize, yeah, the quality of your service or product. Massive value. What does value mean? Value is the difference between benefits and sacrifice. So I said this numerous times, many times, but customers will buy something when they put a high value into it, when they feel that there's a value into buying this, right? When the benefit is larger than sacrifice, right? If it's almost the same, then they won't see value. But if the benefit is huge but the sacrifice is very small, then they'll see value and they'll buy it. Customers perceive greater benefits than sacrifice, and value is created. Benefit is customers derives from the purchase of offers. Sacrifice are negative consequences that are incurred in obtaining the goods or service. So there are different dimensions of value. Yeah, economical value. Yeah, low prices. Yeah, and functional value. Yeah, specific features. Emotional value. Hedonic benefits, positive feelings, benefit gained from using or purchasing the product or service. Symbolic value. Yeah, sort of self-expressive benefits, or sort of self-image. So, Louis Vuitton, Chanel, people carrying that is sort of self-expressive benefit. But if they feel that there's, positive feeling that they get, or hedonic feeling of buying that, I usually, if I go to Starbucks, I buy that green stuff, green juices only. Why? Because I have that positive feeling that I feel that it's going to help me improve my health, right? That's not symbolic, right? It's more of, I guess, functional and emotional together. I have that feeling of being positive, and there's that specific feature that I feel that it will help my health. So this is a framework. Yeah, is a symbolic value a key for your customer? Well, if we should start from here, right? Economic value. There's economic, as you can see, economic, functional, emotional, and then symbolic. Yeah, this is identify the key dimensions of customer value. Develop a customer value proposition. Evaluate the value proposition for competitive advantage. Okay, so usually there's more than one value, right? So as you can see, is economic value key for your customer? Step 2, is functional value key for your customer? Is emotional value key for your customer? Is symbolic value key for your customer? So if I feel that there is that emotional and emotional, then can you build your competitive advantage on offering superior emotional value for combination? He thinks Barney's and Noble is something like that. It's a bookstore in America. Focus on customer experience. Focus on meaning. If it's symbolic, then you should focus on the meaning. Okay, so what this slide is trying to say is that you could have more than one value. Okay, that's it. So based on this value, you could come up with strategy canvas. Yeah. This is another framework that you should work to implement. So basically, all companies should have this for presentation. So what is strategy canvas? It's just drawing your current and future strategic position. It helps. It's a high level depiction. It shows the current and future strategic position. It helps strategists examine value creation, value capture, or opportunity. Prioritization of values helps allocate scarce resources. That's the reason why we do strategy canvas, so that you could allocate your scarce resources. It graphically depicts you and your competitors' value elements. Basically, you're drawing your value proposition in a canvas. It suggests areas of opportunities on which to escape or eliminate competition. It captures the current and future competitive activity and investments. Okay, so if you look at here, these are all the values. So they placed all the value proposition, the values, they just list all of it here. Okay, and then what they did was that's Southwest Airlines, yeah, and one other competitor. So you can see in these areas, Southwest is doing better, yeah, than their competitor, right? In terms of friendly service, speed, and frequent P2P depart, yeah. But in these areas, competitors doing way better. You see the difference? Yeah. Again, this is subjective. If you want this not to be subjective, then you should do survey. Yeah, then you could plot it like this. And get the ranking from 1 to, I don't know, 10 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 10. So if you do, you could get not subjective data if you do surveys, questionnaires, yeah, based on your competitor and yours. But you can see your competitors doing a lot better in terms of price, meals, lounges, seating choice, and hub connectivity. It's that easy, yeah. And also what you can do is you can do it just by your company. So you list all the elements and you see that's your current, yeah, and that's where you want to be. Yeah, they want to improve in terms of where? In element 3. Yeah, and they want to improve in terms of what? Element 6 and element 7 and element 8. Okay. So again, this is like, internal analysis, because looking at your own company and coming up with the values. And then what you do is, which factors should be reduced well below the industry standard? You're putting too much resources. Yeah, that's unnecessary, but you're putting too much. It's not perceived to be important by your customers, but you are allocating too much resources, so you should reduce in that. Okay. Which factors should be created that the industry has never offered? So what should you create? Yeah. Which factors should be raised well above the industry standard? You feel that it should be raised above the industry standard. Yeah, eliminate. Which of the factors that industry takes for granted should be eliminated? Which values do you feel should be eliminated for what? For good, because you're putting too much resources in it. Which should you reduce? Which should you create? Which should you raise? Okay. So this is a example. Example of a wine, premium wine, Yellowtail. Okay, so here you should raise. Yeah, that's budget wines, and that's premium. They feel that the Yellowtail should raise the price, maybe to here, closer to there. Maybe they feel that it's above the line mark used in the terminology decision, the wine communications. These three, aging quality, these three, they feel that it should be eliminated. Whereas vineyard, wine complexity, wine range, they feel should reduce. But ease drinking, ease selection, and fun and adventure should be created more, because as you can see, the premium and budget wines, they don't have it. So these are the areas that they feel that you should create. Here's where you should reduce, and that's where you should eliminate, and that's where you should raise. As you can see, blue are positive, and these are negative. Okay, and then they list it. Yeah, and the grid you just list why, the reasons being. Okay, that's it. Okay, and I'm expecting you guys to come up with this. Yeah, that's why it's called ERRC, because it's ERRC. Okay, I'm expecting each group to come up with strategy canvas and ERRC.